Hello, I am Draven and this is my din and welcome back. Today we are doing a little bit of an Undercards collab with Fun Day. Your channel, what's your YouTube channel called? Is it just Fun Day? Fun Day Rule? I do have it here. Fun Day Rule. This is their channel name, right there. I can pull it up. Fun Day Rule. They've been starting to play some undercards recently, so we are going to be playing a game with each other. They do not like to speak, so they're just going to be chatting in the Twitch chat. So all those messages, that's the person I'm collabing with today. And we're gonna play a game together. A game or two. We're gonna play some games in custom. We're gonna have a good old time. Yeah. Shout out your stuff. Get it all out there for the YouTube audience that I don't have. Yeah, they're new, so what are you, level 11, 13, or 20 something? You were a low level, if I remember. You kind of just started playing undercards. 25, yes. So don't expect any crazy cards, but we're just gonna have some for fun games. I'm gonna start with one of my okay decks, and we'll see how that goes. We're just having fun here, so let's just get into it. Side tail. There we go. You're using determination? Okay. No, don't. This deck is a pretty good deck. It's a bit specific, but works out pretty good. I recommend for new players playing this game to to go into Timmy decks. It's a low bar for entry, but can really get you far. You just need a little bit of dust and you can craft Timmy cards. And even like high tier legend players, you'll see some use Timmy decks, or at least some sort of charge focused deck. Also, it is really great how they upgraded Veteran recently. It's such a really good card now. Yeah, I'm just gonna play it safe. Yeah. Deck building isn't really something big till you get later anyway. Yep. Not bad. Shambling Mass is a new card, or it's not a new card, but it's newly upgraded, and it's pretty good. Oh, Potassium. You're running that card. Usually, I would say when you're playing early game, you really shouldn't go all in on cards that don't have effects on them. It's usually not gold conscious. Because why have a card that has good stats and costs you a lot when you can have a card with good stats and is very cheap? Or not very cheap. I said that wrong. Why have an expensive card with good stats when you can have an expensive card that has good stats that also does something else? Generally, and then there. Sorry, I get too into thinking about my moves, so I kind of go silent. Yeah, it's not good. Shambling Mass recently got their card effect changed, and now Shambling Mass is kind of OP. It's really, really good. But Shambling Mass takes it takes time to build out, so it's not something that is gonna like kill you immediately. What it's really good for is doing that and getting stronger cards without needing to heal them. Like, I can just delete my guys when they're on low health. You need a lot of good insta-kill cards to deal with Shambling Mass, which a lot of new players aren't going to have. I kind of already knew I was going to beat you on this. I'm sorry. But yeah, it is a bit of an issue with this card. It's really, really good. And the fact that it's an exact copy, so if you can give it buffs while it's in your hands, like I did earlier with Sugar Pot, it's so good. You Chujined. Now, that is a little scary for me, but I still have this. Chujin is a very cool card, but they just they kill you too fast, really. You use Chujin and you basically immediately have already lost the game. And I saw you had Last Dream. Last Dream is really good, but it's very situational. To use it, I would say you need to have a knife on hand, and some other ways of health control to like hurt yourself and heal yourself so you can purposely get yourself to exactly 1 HP. I'm sorry to say that that's yeah. Yeah, you've lost. That's the one thing with Chujin. Chujin's very good, but you can't really be losing when you Chujin. You already have to like sort of have an advantage. Or some way to like insta kill your opponent after you've Chujined. Because Chujin just kills you in like Chujin gives you two chances to kill your opponent, essentially. Because on his turn, there's no way you have enough gold to do anything while he's there then. So then you have the next turn to set up anything Chujin allows you to. And then on the third turn, which is the last turn you can do anything, only then you like really use what you've got. But if your opponent had any like board clearing or kill cards, Chujin's kind of useless, as you saw. That's why I very rarely use Chujin. Chujin is more for when you're already ahead. Okay. I'm gonna use let me just do a quick look over my decks. All my decks are OP. Honestly, with your decks, I do not expect you to beat any of them. But I'll play with my worst deck this time. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just need more cards. Uh oh, I forgot to change my deck actually. Do you want to forfeit this one? Cuz like hmm. That was a good play. Mhm. But yeah, this deck, honestly, with only a little bit of setup, it gets, like, kind of out of hand. Like, really fast. Did they make Zephyr cheaper? Because I swear Zephyr used to cost 4. Yeah, Proceed. Actually, I want to show you a really good way to use Proceed in my in my Perseverance deck. It's it's like it's too good. Oh, I should have whatever. Proceed can be a very, very good card. Like, terrifyingly good. But it needs one specific other card to work, and can take multiple proceeds to do its thing. But this other deck I want to show you, it takes a bit of luck to use it, so I might even lose a few times just because of how poor the deck is without proper upgrades. Or without proper luck. I don't know why I said upgrades. Sorry. I kind of just blank out sometimes. You know, unless you plan to kill my shambling mass, there was no real reason to do that, because I'm just gonna kill the well anyway, right? Okay. Shiren is a decent card. It's pretty cheap for healing. Recently, they've been buffing stall decks and healing, like, a lot in the recent meta. And it's honestly a little bit annoying. You need so much kill potential to win these days. Because the stall is so strong nowadays. Because they just keep adding new and better stall cards and upgrading old ones. It's almost a little annoying. Honestly, you should have saved that proceed to use on my shambling mass. Because all the shambling mass's stats come from it's being buffed by, like, a lot. Yeah, it did. Now let me show you the real power of Proceed. Look, when I found your channel, I knew you didn't you weren't very far in, so I will play a deck that's a little easier now, but I do want to show you this Proceed centric deck. I didn't mean to destroy you twice with that with the Shambling Mass deck, because honestly, Shambling Masses are a little too good. There's very few counters to it. There are a few counters to it, but just killing it does not work. Mm-hmm. You're probably not, but this deck, as I've mentioned, is very heavily luck-based. So, like, I will, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna be screwed. But when this deck works, man, whoo, this deck works. There we go. Hey, that wasn't a bad Proceed. Wasn't, you know, it wasn't great, wasn't bad. The problem with Proceed is it doesn't work on decks where you're trying to upgrade your cards a lot. So on like a veteran deck, for example, Proceed isn't actually that good. But Proceed sometimes can be very good. And I will show you that in a second here. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is the way this deck works. It's honestly a little silly. Yep. Yeah, very oh no. Yeah. This, I would say, Chris is probably one of the best DT cards in the game. Most general use, Chris is just like, Chris is good in any deck you use. Chris will always be good. Now that sucks, but the deck isn't ruined for a few reasons here. No, not enough. You know what? Never mind. Yeah, you killed Chris. You're in a pretty good spot, I would say. No more Deltarune. No, no. Yeah. Now, if I had drawn one more Proceed, I would have instantly won that game. Or even if Chris had survived one more turn. And as I said, this deck, it requires a lot of luck. And honestly, you did pretty good to have because normally nobody can touch Chris. because most insta-kill cards can't hit through transparency for the first turn. So Chris is immune to getting killed there. So you were very lucky to have Corruption. Corruption saved your butt like no tomorrow. But yeah, no. I'd say I lose here. Now. Because this deck has nothing else in it. This deck is very bad. In that sense. It is not consistent at all. It is very poorly optimized. I'll just let you finish me off. But, yeah. Most people couldn't kill Chris there. And if I had one more turn, I would have sent Casual Undyne back to my deck, and she would have had even higher stats, and I would have been able to two-shot you. But yeah, it's not consistent at all. It's a funny deck. That's what it is. It's very funny. But, it's like a 50-50 if you draw Chilldrake, that you draw the other thing. Yeah, you got a bit lucky. That is true. You had Contamination, which most people don't run Contamination. And I would say you shouldn't run Contamination. In most situations, Contamination, because it requires people's monsters to stay on the board, so that they get karma'd. Because it only kills things that already have karma. Contamination isn't too bad, though, if you have cards that give karma naturally in your thing, but it just gets expensive at that point. But the fact that it insta-kills 2 different enemies, it's not bad, it's just its specific use case. And sometimes it doesn't target what you want it to target. Generally speaking, that other one's better. Under-event. Yeah, some people play an under-event because of under-event today. Now, this next deck, it's also a ramp deck, but it's a little better. Well, actually, I wouldn't call that last Chris deck a ramp deck. Oh, wait, it gives karma. It does, but it doesn't kill things unless they already have karma. It gives karma or it kills things with karma. It does one or the other. It doesn't do both. It doesn't just give them karma and kill. If it did that, it would be a way more expensive card. I'll tell you that. But yeah, it does give karma. What? Do you not have a good justice deck? It has won once, yeah. My Justice deck is all Undertale Yellow cards. I would recommend don't open Undertale Yellow packs. Craft all your Undertale Yellow cards. It's a lot smaller of a deck. Oh no, what? Did you just draw spells? Yes, I'm using Ultima Thrash. Ultima Thrash is pretty good. but this deck is not the greatest. I'll tell you that right now. Just not enough. I'll do that. Yeah, it did. Overheating is pretty good. I may have used that too early, but I just thought, let's clear it out. Okay. I'll do that. You normally shouldn't play Hanging Spider in your deck unless you have a way to kill Hanging Spider. As a word of advice. Yeah. Hanging Spider kind of sucks. I mean, you got use out of it, though. Can't argue with that. Um... Boom. Wait a second. Why did it generate one of those? I didn't... Add a copy of it when you cast a spell. Non-generated spell. Add a copy of it to your hand. Hourglass shouldn't have triggered there. Why did I get... Oh, I drew it. Never mind, because it got sent to my deck from before. I was very confused there for a second. Let's do that. Do that. And then for free, Hold on to that. I'm not looking very hot right now, but it's not terrible either. I definitely need more taunt cards in this deck, that's for sure. I tried to remedy that with the other thing, but... Oh. Oh, man. Dang it. Well, that's the best I could do there. I think I still lose. You kind of got me there. That was the wrong choice, by the way. Phew, okay, okay. 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 I still lose. I still might lose, but. Eh? What'd you draw? It's not great. Okay, okay, I'm still in the game. I'm still in the game. Okay, we're still in it. Okay. I'm still in this. Okay. Um. Yeah, MTT Fountain doing its job. This could be bad. Yeah, you only have like 1, 2 cards in your hand. Whew. I think I may have clutched it. Ah. We've done it. Blast! Boom! Phew! I lasted just enough turns there. You have 2 cards, yes. Yeah, I see that. Whew! Man, was that a save. I was so screwed there for a second. Yeah, that was the wrong order. I don't think it would have saved you anyway, to make you feel, if that makes you feel better at all, but I was gonna do something more, but I'm just gonna kill you out of pity. Or mercy, not pity. But yeah, it didn't really matter. You were dead. That's the thing I always did. I messed up the order of my attacks so often. Like, I would have won, but I didn't. I unlike so many of my games, but I was so bad at following the right order to do things. And then I did it all, and I was like, shoot, I'm screwed. If I just did that in a slightly different order, I would have won. Also, look at all these level 1s, level 2s in the playing right now. People really flocked in after Underevent. I mean, yeah, that deck wasn't great, but to be fair, you also kind of got a little lucky with some of that. I don't know if I have any do I have any more meh decks right now? It feels like it wouldn't be fair to use one of my decks with a DT card in it, since you don't have a DT. Let me just make a kindness deck real quick. Let's see. With relatively non-rare cards. Let's see. What's a good deck? Do 2 of those. I won't use any legendaries or DTs. Rare is max. There. There we go. There we go. Kindness deck. And I'll join the game. Boom. I can't wait for all the new players coming in from Underevent. I won't have to fight a bunch of legend guys that have been playing this game for a million years. You've made a terrible idea. Oh, I'm excited to see it. Integrity, huh? Okay. Ugh. A deck that only has taunt monsters. Um, annoying, but actually not as good because you have solidity. Um, solidity makes that not so good. Because solidity can be like a huge money waster. Like, like really bad. Um, I'll just do this for now. Boom. All in on gift shot, huh? Okay. I'm cool with that. Oh, big scary numbers. Ouch. Um, hmm. Boom. Another gift shot. Get it out of here. Yeah. All my homies bully gift shot. Get it out of here. I don't want to see its face. Boom. Boom. Good thing I'm green soul. On most other souls, all that damage done to me really would have sucked. Man, you like really big things, huh? These guys. Look, I'm just gonna. There. Get those guys out of there. If only I had more card draw in this deck. I'd be pretty good right now. I don't have anything. Probably a bad idea to waste that now, but I think I lost. I forgot about card draw. Your deck was disgusting, man. Just absolutely gross. I'm just gonna surrender. I just need card draw, and that probably wouldn't have been so bad. There. That's better. Yeah. It's sort of a counter for that. There are people who can get around that. You know, silencing your taunt monsters. There's a lot of ways to silence taunt monsters, so not really. It doesn't really save you from rushers. More like stall decks where you just go full healing on yourself are more annoying to rushers. Generally speaking. And there are some really high tier monsters, rushers, that can like wreck you. Yes. A little card called King, you know, he can silence all monsters on the field. King can do that, but he costs 9 gold, so it'd basically be the only thing they could do that turn. Certain legendary. Oh, man. Of all the legendaries to get, I don't know. It really depends. All the legendaries have their own specific uses. Like, every legendary has a specific use. Case. Perseverance. That's a growth deck. I like Placeholder Chris, but Placeholder Chris is not the best, and Placeholder Chris works best if you pair it with, say, Ralsei, because Ralsei can cheat out a Placeholder Chris, because it can do that, but that's another legendary. You'd have to have 2 legendaries for that combo to work. For someone who's doing Perseverance, just something that's general and not specific use. That's hard. Sham? Nope, no, not Sham. Sham is an early game trap. Sham is an early trap. He basically is a taunt. He's not actually a taunt, but people will immediately kill him or silence him. People will focus Sham and kill him because Sham can get you any other legendary, and most people already know how much of a threat leaving Sham on the board is, and his stats are not that good. Sham is an early game, an early player's trap. You're gonna think, wow, that's a really good one. And he's not terrible, but with how expensive he is and his stats, like, somebody 9 times out of 10 is gonna have something to counter Sham with. And if, heaven forbid, somebody cool papyrused your Sham, they just take your Sham and they get to play it for cheaper, essentially. But, like, if someone were to play a Spade King and silenced your Sham and every other monster on the board, or had, like, a million different ways to kill him, like, there are a lot of ways to get rid of a Sham, because he doesn't have that much health. He's not a taunt, so he can hide behind taunts, but you'd have to be in the lead already to use Sham. There is another card, Chest, that can capture monsters. It's a 4/4. The only downside to that one is you can't silence it. I have seen people with decks like this that are really annoying, where they will use Igloo to steal your card and then bring back their chest to basically delete your card. So it doesn't even go to your dust pile. So you can't revive it or anything. And they can do that for 4 gold, 7 gold for super cheap. And you can just take a bunch of people's really expensive cards away from them. That's actually, like, a really annoying and really strong setup. Though, I'd say Undyne is a really good legendary. She's just generally useful. She does 10 damage, and for any overflow, she summons a spear with stats of the damage she didn't deal. She's a bit expensive, so not super easy to get out all the time, though. But she's just really good. Papyrus is another decent one. Queen's not bad. Queen is sort of better Sham. A little bit in some ways. Because she summons an extra thing. And if you silence the Wire, she summons. You can also just delete their monster that way. So it doesn't get brought back to them. Oh! Actually, if, and this is a big if, the Undercards dev team doesn't debuff this card, DT Extractor. It recently got updated, and this is a really good card for new players. It lets you look at 4 random DT cards and choose one to add to your deck. This is super good for new players. It is, like, one of the easiest ways you can start experimenting with DTs. DT Extractor. Like, because DT cards are very OP. A lot of them are very, very good. And the fact that you get a choice of 4 different ones, DT Extractor is a must-have for new players. 1, it's just really good to experiment and learn how good or bad the DT cards are. And 2, it's just a good use. Right now, yeah, I hope they don't nerf DT Extractor, because I think the build with it right now is very cool. It's very new player friendly. And that's just, it's good to have things that are new player friendly. This game isn't always super new player friendly. Like right now, from what I've seen in your streams and videos, I think right now you're still playing against bots. But as soon as you're out of bot land, like once you get to level 30, 50, I don't remember when, and they let you fight against a bunch of real players, you're gonna get smacked by DTs, like, constantly. And, like, a bunch of legendaries. There's a big problem with legend spam, people with decks that are completely made of legend cards, which just have more intricate and, like, OP abilities. They cost more, but, like, generally speaking, it's worth it for what cost they have. And it's something you can't get, like, all of as a new player, so. But yeah, I have every card. I have every card in the game except for the Vessel. This is the only card I don't have. Oh, yeah. Okay, so you've gotten out of Botland. You've gotten out of Botland. Yeah, that's really annoying, especially for new players. It's not super fun. So I really do hope that they don't fix this. But as long as they don't fix this, I would say this should be one of the first things you get. One of the first DTs you get. That's not that good, actually. Yeah, DT Extractor. That's the one I would recommend. As long as they don't nerf it, I heavily recommend DT Extractor. There is a very specific DT Extractor build that's really OP, but it requires the true Vessel, this one, because it adds an exact copy of a non-DT ally monster card to your hand and 2 to your deck, which allows you to dupe DT Extractor. So you can get more DTs and more DTs and more DTs, and basically every card you play can be a DT with this. But sadly, it's the only one I don't have. But you can get DT Extractor and use it, and it can give you Vessel, and it's really cool. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. Right now, a good card is Snowell. Snowell is another good card. Especially for a Perseverance deck, I don't think that's too bad. Snowell is a good one to add. Because Snowgrave, insanely good if you can get it. Snorkel. Snowell. Yes. Snowell's really good. The cheap legendaries are really good. Yeah, autocorrect. It's the worst. But, cheap legendaries are really good. Weevil is a good one. A lot of people use it because it just forces your opponent to do something about it. Because if your opponent doesn't do something about it, it can be very bad for them. So, forcing... I had a bit of a voice crack there. Forcing your opponent to do something for you, or to act a certain way, is very good. Hello. So, Weevil's very good, because it forces... A lot of DT legendary cards are like that. It forces your opponent to react to it. With a lot of base cards, people can just ignore them, because silencing them or whatever, there's no real point. You can just ignore it a lot of the time. But these are so, like, dangerous that your opponent is forced to do something about them a lot of the time. Teacher Toriel, that's another good one that's good for any deck. Look at the enemy hand and just say goodbye to a card you don't like. You see a card in their hand you don't like? Goodbye. Teacher Toriel's good for that. Rules card, another good card. Not much about it. It just wastes 3 of your opponent's gold and is pretty useful otherwise. Can pull you back, get you back in the game. Gerson, you need a specific deck for Gerson. Susie's another good one that's always good. That's a good one. Cool Papyrus is always good for new players. It's a legend card. You can only have one of these in your deck, but that used to be a play. People used to have strategies where they kept reviving and adding rules to their decks and whatnot, and it was annoying. It sucked, but people got over it. People don't do the rules card duping strategies anymore. But yes, that is a decent strat. It is very good against people who are just trying to attack your face. Oh, it's really good because they don't get puzzle box at all. That's usually why people pair Sans Dog with rules card. And then there are a few other ways to add cards to your opponent's deck, but they're not a legendary card. But rules card and Sans Dog, very good combo. Yeah, no more of these DTs do that. But yeah, if you use rules when that's how the rules card strategy goes. Is you have to fill your opponent's hand. Okay. Well, I had fun, and talking about undercards with somebody has been a good time. I can't wait to get my final DT, and then they add a DT next month, and then I gotta freaking work it for that again. I mean, you won, like, twice, to be fair, so you did pretty good with base cards. You know how to play the game, I'll give you that. You may not have all the good cards yet, but you're pretty good. You're pretty good at it. Well, this was a really good time. Oh. Oh, did I? Oh, I didn't have music on this whole time. Well, that's fine. that. Oh yeah, Underevent. I'm excited for that the Deltarune chapter 3 and 4, I guess, because it did look like they had a 4, but I don't think their 4 is coming out till next year. Or are they doing both? Because if they're doing both, I'd be like, I'm excited. We got a lot to look forward to this year. Because honestly, most of what happened in Underevent last year, I don't think any of that stuff got finished. So it's good to see that some of the projects are coming out this year. I mean, except for, like, the comics, because the comics are always ongoing. But, like, I don't think any of the fan games from last year were finished. I do wonder when they're going to finish Green Sands. It looks like that project was... It looked done, I'm going to be honest. Like, last year, Green Sands looked like they had so much they showed off. So I thought that was going to be done. Like, oh, in 2025. Okay, goodbye for real. I'll see ya next time. Bye. And for you guys on YouTube, bye to you as well. Bye-bye.